All right, good. Thanks very much for joining. My name's Matt. I'm one of the co-founders of Pocket Bitcoin, a DCA Bitcoin platform. What I'm presenting today has nothing to do with what we do on a day-to-day basis. That is just...
What you do is awesome.
Good, cool, thanks. Sounds like a client. Thanks a lot. Yes, so NFC Cards, a game changer for Bitcoin Lightning payments. You've all gotten a card, I hope. If not, then maybe raise your hand. And Toby, you maybe hand out some more cards, the ones that don't yet have one. These NFC cards are empty at the moment. They won't be by the end of this, so we learn together how to set them up, how to actually create our own NFC cards, Lightning enabled, connected to a wallet. And how or what that will look like roughly, I will demonstrate to you real quick, just so you get a rough idea. So NFC cards, you might have seen them on Twitter. You now have one in your hand. They are compatible with most of the smartphones that we use nowadays. Every smartphone that has an NFC sensor can work with these cards. Two use cases, say for example, you have one of those cards and you go into a shop and you want to pay with that card. You might see a POS, a point of sale system that looks something like this. The merchant will use that Lightning enabled POS. You come with your card, the merchant types something into the terminal, wants to charge you, say, like a Swiss franc. Let's make it 1 Swiss franc, which would be 4,825 Satoshis. Creates an invoice. Now, of course, you could pay that Lightning invoice with your Lightning wallet, the traditional way. Or you use now your NFC card. You present that card to the back of the phone or tablet or NFC reader, whatever they have, and you've made a Lightning payment literally within less than a second. That is one of the use cases. Then, of course, you could also just tap that NFC card to a phone that has a Lightning wallet on it. Now, in my case, Wallet of Satoshi opens, asks you to want to receive 5,000. Not going to be that greedy. Let me take 50. And I receive 50 Satoshis from that NFC card. So we'll do that. We'll set that up. As of now, your card is empty, but we'll learn how to put a wallet onto it. And we've also prepared wallets for you so that you don't, well, we'll definitely sort of tell you how you can do it in a self-custodial way. That's the idea behind this. Eventually, it should be done on your own Lightning node, on your own server. Today, we show it to you in a custodial fashion with wallets that we set up for you. But this is what it will look like by the end of it. I won't go into the nitty-gritty and details of Lightning payments, NFC card, like the very technical stuff. I leave that out. I'm going to be on a fairly high level, I guess. If you have specific questions, ask me after or interrupt as well during the masterclass and ask. That is more or less what we're going to do. So a quick introduction into Lightning payments, NFC card payments. How do they work roughly? What happens behind the scenes? How can it be done on your own node with software like LNbits, an open source tool that helps you do these kinds of things? Then we have a little Satoshi airdrop. We're going to airdrop some Satoshis onto all of you into your wallets that you have with you. And then we set up the NFC cards. Connect your NFC card to that wallet that you have in your hands. All right, what we need for that is an NFC tool app on your smartphone that is NFC enabled. And we need a QR code scanner that should be built into either your camera or you have a dedicated app on your phone. But we also quickly look into that, how that works. So you can bring out your phones and we'll quickly check those couple of things. I'm myself I'm on Android, so I don't exactly know how that looks on iPhone or iOS, but it should work just as well. NFC, I don't exactly know how to enable NFC on iOS, but this is how it works on Android. You go into your settings, and in your settings you have a section that's called Connected Devices. And when you go into these connected devices, you will find a connection preference at the bottom. And when you tap there, you will find the settings to NFC. NFC, you can go in there and either turn it on or off. So if that's already on and have used NFC previously or enabled it, then that's fine. Otherwise, toggle this switch and your phone should be ready to connect with that NFC tag that you have now. Alright, so NFC enabled on Android. Then we need an NFC tool. I already have it installed here. That's the one that's most commonly used. It's super easy to use and it's also available on both platforms. So just go into whatever store you're using, whether that's a Play store or some other store, like I'm using Aurora store here on my Graphene, and search for NFC. And then this tool should come up, this orange button, orange icon, and it is from these developers called WakeDev. If you find and have that, then that's the right one. Install this and you should be fine. QR code reader, yeah, I said maybe you have one inbuilt into your camera, or you could install one like that, QR reader secure. I like that one. This has, yeah, camera and scans whatever you hold in front of it. Maybe real quick before we go on to Lightning, so we have all this tag now in front of us. An NFC tag in its simplest form is really just something that can be read and can be written onto. So you can read with your phone what's on it, and if the tag allows you to rewrite it, you can write something onto it. And that is pretty much very simple. So you open, for example, that NFC Tools app, and you have these sections. I know it looks slightly different on iOS, but nonetheless, it has the same menu items: read, write. That's really all we need, those two, read and write. So if we go and we read a tag, let me get the same tag as you have right now in front of you. So if you hold your card now, it says approach an NFC tag to your phone, right? And you approach that tag, it will be read by your sensor. And there's a lot of information. You don't really need to look or pay attention to most of it. There is the tag type, that's interesting, NTAG 216. That's the tag, the type of tag that we're using here. We can also see we have about 900 bytes that we can write onto that tag. Should be enough for most of the Lightning stuff that we'll do. And at the moment we can see the tag is empty there at the very bottom. There's nothing on this tag. It's just an empty tag. Your phone won't know. If you do that without the NFC tools open, I guess it's not even gonna, oh yeah, your phone will say empty tag or something along those lines. Now we can write something onto it. Let's write something. Go into the write section and we add a record. We could write a whole bunch of stuff. Like, feel free to explore these things and play around with this tag after the class as well. But I'm gonna write a URL. I'm gonna write bitcoin.org. So I have a record, an URL record, and I go write, and I write this now to the tag. Super quick, write already completed. If I now go back and read it again, it will say the same information, except here at the bottom I have now that record, that HTTPS record, URI record, URL record, bitcoin.org. If I now do that without that app open, it will just open a web browser and go to bitcoin.org. That's just the basic mechanics of how NFC tags work, and that's what we are going to use now with Lightning. I'll give a quick intro, but as said, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but still there might be some people who are not that familiar with what Lightning payments are. Bitcoin Lightning payments, they work on a different layer, as is often said, on a second layer to Bitcoin, basically above Bitcoin. So it is built on top of Bitcoin, and it makes it possible to, it leverages the underlying security of Bitcoin and makes it possible to have super cheap, low value transactions with Bitcoin that we can use on our daily basis to buy coffee, to do all those purchases that are a little too expensive, the traditional way in Bitcoin. It is sort of an online payment system, so technically you have to be online to do Lightning. You need your node or your wallet needs to be online. That is one of the pitfalls, maybe a little bit of Lightning, different to on-chain, where you can just distribute an address or receive an address from somebody and send them Bitcoin without them having to be online. Now that's different in Lightning. And therefore you might ask, but how does it work? Your NFC card is certainly not online, right? Something must be online. Definitely the card terminal, the place where you touch your card, that is going to be online. And that is really also the only thing that's needed. So your card does not need to be online. The payment terminal can make that connection. Now, of course, something still needs to be online from your side. And that is going to be your Lightning node that you run somewhere. Maybe you run it at home, maybe you run it in a cloud, but definitely your Lightning node, the place where that payment is going to be made from, needs to be online. So in that sense, it is not truly offline. There needs to be hardware online, but it allows you to just walk around with a card and basically give access to your node through that card. That is what effectively happens when you do an NFC card payment. These payments are, again, happening an additional layer on top, basically on top of Lightning. So we have like the Lightning protocol, Lightning nodes that talk to each other. The technology that is used here is called LNURL. That's what we're using when we're doing these, when we scan QR codes, not Lightning invoices, but when we scan to receive, or when we give somebody a QR code through which they can receive Bitcoin, then we use a protocol that's called LNURL. It involves web servers. So you not only have to run a Lightning node, but you have to run a little web server or a software like LNbits or a BTC Pay server on top of that in order to make use of LNURLs. Because effectively you're not working with invoices anymore, at least not in the first place. The first sort of connection is happening through the web, through HTTPS or through Tor, something like that. There is at the moment two standards that we are using. So we have simple LNURLs. That is what we are going to use today. It is a little, no, not a little, it is substantially less secure, but nonetheless it works. It's fun to play around with, and if you are aware of the implications, then it's totally fine to use it like that. As you've seen before, that simple version of an NFC tag just responds with whatever you put on there, right? So we are going to put on an LNURL, a long string that the POS reads and eventually figures out where to get Bitcoin from. You're basically telling that POS, this is the place where you can get, where you can withdraw Bitcoin from my wallet. And that string is not gonna change. So you will use this, you tap it on different POSs. You can probably see already the implications. Potentially that string could be stored from these POSs and it could be used later, a day later. They take some more money out of your account. Of course, you could do limitations. You can say you can only take that much or limit an amount per day, but it is not all that secure because that string that is being returned is the same all the time. Now, there is a more secure way of doing this, which can be achieved with these bolt cards. And these bolt cards, they respond, they are smarter than these. These are pretty dumb. So like an echo card just gives back to you what you put on there. And these bolt cards, they respond with, they are so smart that they can do math. So when you tap them, they generate a random URL. And that URL is then being used by the POS to fetch a Lightning invoice. Therefore, there, of course, you can only allow a one-time use. So that's the whole idea behind that. Basically, whenever you tap a bolt card, a new URL is generated, and that can only be used once. Sort of the biggest difference between the two cards. but we are going to use that simple version. The Bolt cards are already supported as well with this open source software. For example, with LNbits, what we're going to be looking at today, you can already do these Bolt cards. It's a little bit more tricky to set them up and to write onto these cards, but they are available. You can buy them on NFC card shops, and you could buy these Bolt cards as well. They work. They are from Coin Corner, so they work, of course, in together with the Coin Corner accounts, but you could use the same cards and connect them to your own server, to your own full node, and do it in a more secure way. Your own node, LNbits. So what are the requirements? Basically, you need a Bitcoin, a Lightning full node. That is certainly one of the requirements that runs somewhere, whether that's, as I said, in the cloud or you run it on your own hardware. And you got to have some sort of software on top, because as said, we're using these LN URLs, and that is happening through web. So also, that is maybe one of the trickiest points here. You need a domain where that software is exposed, so it needs to run on ClearNet, or it could be done over Tor as well. But LN URL, sorry, that is a scheme that is facilitated over the web, and therefore you need to expose your software somehow. So whether that's, now we're getting a little technical, whether that's through like some sort of tunneling, or you open the ports to your router, or, well, if you're running it in a cloud, maybe that's a little bit less of a problem, but you definitely do need a domain of sorts, whether that's a ClearNet address or a Tor address, to do these kind of payments. There is a lot of instruction, so if you go and you look up on YouTube how to do these things, you can totally do that. My personal recommendation would be to run a Raspberry Blitz. That is a great full node implementation. It has all these tools on it. You can set up a Raspberry Pi, connect an external disk to it, start running a Bitcoin full node, and then also pretty much with just a simple UI, you activate these different types of software, and it installs it all for you. It installs LNbits for you. It even allows you to bridge, make a connection into they have a service that's called a Tor, what would they call it? Tor to somebody? IP to Tor bridge, where they basically help you to open your node, or to connect your node into the internet. Right. And if there's any questions, always also possible to reach out to me, or there's a lot of help online. Definitely YouTube is a good place to go and to find more information on that. Right, so what we're going to look at now is the wallets that you now have. As just explained, it would be great if you would host it yourself, if you wouldn't use somebody else's wallet or host your wallet in some other place. As we know, in Bitcoin, it's always great to have to be in possession of your own keys. You are not in possession of the key to the wallet that we gave you. So it is a custodial wallet, therefore, so don't put a lot of money on it. Also, pay attention maybe on the back of this card that has the QR codes on it. We put a little note, so we'll be shutting down these wallets by the 13th of November. Make sure that any Satoshis that are on there, either the ones that I drop onto you in just a moment, or some that you send onto it, that you take them off of there, because otherwise, after that 13th, they won't be accessible anymore. Scam. Yes. So, all right, that custodial wallet, let's see. So, how do we access that wallet and access LNbits? So we are running basically the infrastructure now for all of you. All of you have a wallet that we run, that we operate, that we have the keys to. And that wallet can be accessed through one of the QR codes that you have on there. Let me quickly just go into a camera, I guess, so for everybody to see. You have the card at the back, and then you have that piece, that cardboard piece that has two QR codes on it. One is to top up the wallet. For example, if you already have a wallet, a Lightning wallet on your phone, whether that's a Blue Wallet or any other Lightning wallet, you could use that QR code and top up this particular wallet that you have here. The other one is the QR code that leads you to the LNbits wallet that's running on our server. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to access that wallet through the web and check out what's happening on that particular wallet. So we use a QR code reader, use any QR code reader, and then maybe it's always good, oh, it's already scanned, but maybe like hide one of the QR codes that it's not reading the wrong one, and then scan the other. And you should also, just like me, have a link similar to this. It says plan B, pocketbitcoin.com, and then /wallet something something, and you open that in a browser on your phone, and what happens is you get a wallet that doesn't have anything on it. So it says 0 satoshis. But it is basically a Lightning wallet. So this is a custodial Lightning wallet that you could use through your browser. Not that maybe you know a Lightning wallet on your phone. That is a dedicated application. This is just running in the browser, but you could do all the stuff that you can do with normal Lightning wallets. You can paste invoices in here. You can receive Bitcoin to it, so create invoices. You can scan invoices. I allow the camera to the browser so I can send Bitcoin from it to other places. So the satoshis that we will load onto your wallets, you could send them someplace. And I can top it up. I'll quickly show that and hope it all works as well. So for example, I'm gonna be using let me use SUS wallet and go into the scan mode here. And now instead of the QR code for my wallet, so for the web wallet, I'm now using the top-up one, the one on the right side here. So I scan it, and it should recognize that this is a QR code that can be, like Satoshis, Bitcoin can be sent to it. And let me put some 50 Satoshis in here. And I confirm, and I pay this invoice. Make a Bitcoin transaction. It worked, and then if I go back to my browser and I go and refresh this page, I should see a 50 Satoshi payment. So I now have a balance of 50 Satoshi in that web wallet and can do whatever I want. I could send it some other place. I can use the scan function and scan a Lightning invoice somewhere, pay someone. It is literally a full-fledged wallet, a custodial one, running on our server. We're now airdropping some into your wallets. So if you give me just a second, I will do this on my side and quickly manipulate or basically do a bunch of Lightning payments to all of you. And if you refresh your wallet now, I also sent some to me. Then you got some free money. You got 1,000 Satoshis now in your wallet. Free sats, as it says. Oh, you cannot see my phone, right? Yeah, there we go. So we have free Satoshis received a minute ago, and we can do whatever we want. We can pay invoices, and that is what we're going to do now. We're going to connect this wallet with our NFC card. And eventually we'll be able to use this card and pay for stuff, not all that much. We only have 1,000 Satoshis at this point, but you could top it up and put more onto it. So how do we do that? If you have your wallet open now in your browser, you go to the very top left and click on that menu button. And then you can see extensions, manage extensions. Click on that link. And that will display a handful of extensions to you. If you know LN bits, then you are noticing that it's a lot less than that there normally are. I deactivated most of them just so that you're not overwhelmed. All you really need, I let the bold cards there, so if you want to play around, if you have one of those cards, totally do that. But other than that, we just need the LN URL W, the one at the bottom, make LN URL withdraw links. That is what we need. We need a withdraw link because that's what we're going to put on here, and the POS will withdraw Bitcoin from our wallet. So we enable that. Click enable. And we have that enabled now in that wallet. I can click on open, or I can also now see, if you open that menu again, there is now an additional menu point that says LNURLW. If you go in there, you can now create these withdraw links. There's two options: quick vouchers. You can create simple quick vouchers, give them to people, and then they can receive those Satoshis into their wallets. Or we are going to create an advanced withdraw link. That's the second button. So you click on that one, click advanced, and then a menu like this opens. The first selection that we have to make is which wallet do we want to withdraw from. So you might have multiple wallets in this account. We only have, or you only have one, with some weird Italian names there. You choose just that wallet. You can put a link title. Let me just put like Plan B here. You can set a minimum and maximum. So there is some sort of security. If you don't want this card to be used for purchases larger than 50,000 Satoshis, you can limit that here, and the POS won't be able to take more than that. So that's also a good precaution if you don't want to walk around with or give access to too much of your Bitcoin. A minimum needs to be defined as well. The minimum is 10, so I'll put 10. We don't really have all that much in here, but I'm gonna put maximum, or maybe put it 10,000 Satoshis. You can say how often it can be used. So you could say that's only valid for 10 times, and after that it won't work anymore. I'm gonna make it 50 times. And we can also define a time in seconds between the withdrawal attempts. So you can say it's not possible to do that more than once a minute or so. I'm gonna say here 10 seconds. And that's all you need. So these couple of settings, we don't need the webhook here, we don't toggle any of those two checkboxes. And then we create a withdraw link. That happened now. We have now a withdraw link that's listed here. If we create more, that list would get longer and longer. We only have that one. We have these buttons here as well that allow us certain things. We can share them, we can open them in separate windows. What we really need is the last of the icons. It's a little hard to aim at, but it should work. You just display and it says view LNURL. That little like modal should open, and you can see a QR code through which you technically now, if you were fast enough, you could have taken some sats out of my wallet. And what we need from that window is the actual LNURL. That is a long string. You cannot read it except for the very beginning. That will say LNURL, and then there is just gibberish after that. That's the link that we need to write onto the card to make these card payments possible. And we're using the NFC Tools app to write it onto the card. If you've written something onto the card before, like a link as I did, that doesn't matter, it's just gonna overwrite. So all we really need to do is open that window, view the LNURL. Now you can copy with that button that you have there, copy LNURL. Basically copy it into your clipboard on your phone. And now we close our browser. We go into NFC Tools. And in here, maybe let's check real quick what is actually on there. Still my record from before, the bitcoin.org. And I'm now gonna go into write and again add a record. Now this time we're not gonna use the URL record type, but we're going to use the custom one because we want to define a custom URI scheme in here. So you choose the third option, says custom. And now in here, these POSs, so in order, like whether that's a wallet on your phone, so the moment you tap your card, all the wallets that know how to deal with LNURLs, they need to basically say, hey, I can deal with this. It's a little different on iOS. That's basically that you only have one option, but on Android, it often gives you a selection. And also the POS that you tap the card maybe in a shop, that needs to know what type of protocol is given to it. So what we're doing here, the URI that we're specifying is just Lightning and then a colon. And after that, we're going to paste our LN URL. So in here, you type Lightning, like that. Then a colon, no forward slashes or anything, just Lightning colon. And then you go and you paste that long string that you've gotten from your browser before. It should, I'll go real quick to the very beginning. It should start, as I said, with LN URL, and then we all, because there is like part of the information that's in here, of course, is the URL, like in this case, planb.pocketbitcoin.com. So it starts for all of us. It continues the same 1DP blah blah blah, but eventually at the very end, there is information that differs between all of us. So we have a unique LN URL now, and we click OK, and can again see real quick what we will be writing onto that card. Now we choose the write option, and again it says approach a tag to your phone. I'm doing that, and the write has been completed, the write operation. Now I'll switch real quick back and check if that all worked out the way it was supposed to. Yes, I can see there is no more bitcoin.org record. Now I have a Lightning colon record, and now my card is ready. I can start using it. So let's check real quick. I go back to my wallet and see how much I've actually got. I've got 1,050 Satoshis. Now let me go into a shop and buy some stuff. I go and end up in a place where they accept my card and they charge me 5 cents. They create an invoice, which I'm not going to scan, but I'm just gonna tap my card, and the POS will know what to do with that information, and voila, makes a Lightning payment. And if we go back and refresh, we can see that the wallet has been now 242 Satoshis have been withdrawn from that wallet. If you do it on your phone, you don't have a POS probably where you can test it, but you can, if you have wallets installed or you want to give people some Satoshis, have them install a Lightning wallet on their phone, and then tap that card to the back. A wallet that knows what to do with this thing, Lightning colon. So that's what the wallet listens to. It listens to Lightning colon. As soon as that happens, it opens a Lightning wallet, and then in here again, I'll take some Satoshis and go OK. And it says payment on the way. Let me switch back to the wallet, refresh, and again we have a couple of Satoshis less in our wallet. Yes, that's how that works. So the difficult part really is setting up your Bitcoin full node and LN bits or some sort of a software that can do LN URL on top. But once you've done that, you are pretty close already to doing these types of Lightning payments with NFC cards. That is all that's needed. You could, of course, reuse this card. This card can be written onto, I think, like 10,000 times or so. So yes, feel free to either use them for another couple, for like 2 weeks. You can use them with our setup, with this particular wallet that we've given to you. And after that, use your own, or you could also use LN bits. LN bits is, there is a hosted version of LN bits where you can go and create wallets and do these kinds of things. Again, that's custodial, so don't put too much money on there, but works just fine. That was it from my side. Thanks a lot for listening, and if there's any questions. Good. If there's any questions, then I guess that would be an option now, yes? Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, not yet. Yes. Okay. So to recapitulate as a beginner question, I top up my NFC card with Bitcoin on the Lightning Network. Right. And if a pizza parlor here in the city who accepts Lightning payment in their point of sale system with NFC, I can pay now with this card.
Exactly.
And why do we need Lugano coin then? Okay.
I don't even know why you would need that.
Okay. Yeah.
You get 5%.
5% on the pizza.
Oh, you get,
okay.
you get a discount.
Okay, that's a deal. That's a deal. Okay. Good. All good.
Yeah, well, just one. I only tried it once, but this card always gives the same address, withdrawal address.
Yes, correct.
Because I was earlier using different card, which every time gave different address, which a different signature. Yes. So this is like less secure version.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, there is these two types, and the NTAGs, the versions that start with number 200, like NTAG 213, 14, 15, and this one is NTAG 216. The only difference is really the amount of bytes that you can write onto. But what they do, they just respond with whatever you put on there. There's no, they can't do calculations. You need to have another card. For example, the type NTAG 424 is a card that you can write keys onto, and with those keys, these cards write unique URLs that, of course, the POS then needs to know what to do with. So it's not an ln URL in plain, or an ln URL that comes back, but actually a URL that needs to be called. So the POS needs to know what to do with it. But I mean, most of the POSs, there's these two standards now, and they kind of know what to do with the different types of links. And yeah, right.
Can I write?
Get a microphone.
Can I write an ln URL pay and an ln URL withdraw on the same card, and it checks whether or not I like to pay or to get money if there an invoice or?
That is a very good question. Actually, I don't even know.
I could try it out.
Yeah, we should try it out. I mean, you can definitely add another record, so you could have the first record be.
I think
yes.
3 or 4 records.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose both come back. Both are being sent to the OS and interpreted.
Take the right one.
Yes. That's a good question. I actually don't know. Yeah, could try it out.
Yes, on these more advanced cards that can calculate, is it easy to add like a PIN code functionality? So either the point of sale sends the PIN code into the card, or the server says you need to give me a PIN code or I won't pay to you?
Yes. So that's not really I like that question because it's a very good thought. So the cards that are more advanced, all they do is create unique URLs, and the whole validation of what is allowed, how much the POS can take, how frequently, how much per day, do I need a PIN code, for example, that could all be validated server side, right? So there's a whole host of things. For example, what I particularly like, the idea of, like today, we use our credit cards, we tap them. If the amount is too high, we actually type our PIN into a POS. We've typed our pins in hundreds and hundreds of POSs, which is a ridiculously stupid thing to do. They could all be recorded. In this case, we could have, since we're running the infrastructure ourselves, we could do that server side, and we could have, like, if the payment value is beyond $200, you have a quick notification on your phone that says either just like a 2FA, approve this purchase, or type in your PIN or something like that. That could totally be done. Like, what you validate server side before the Lightning payment is issued is really, like, the possibilities are endless there. Yeah.
And then another question: if your phone is NFC enabled, right? Well, can you pay with your phone as well? Because your phone is like the strongest card that can calculate anything.
True. Yeah, that's right. I'm not exactly familiar with the different types of NFC. Chips that are in phones, but technically should be, yeah, if you have a chip that can act as a tag, that is totally possible. Yeah, there are these types of chips for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, maybe this question will define the whole purpose of the talk. But what if the phone does not support NFC? You know, would you have some kind of fallback solution in this case or so?
Right, the phone. You mean in order to set it up, right? Yeah. Yeah, that is difficult. So I mean, it would be ideal. Maybe you could use a phone of a friend. If there are NFC USB devices that you can plug into your computer and use that to set it up. But that's a separate device that you have to acquire. Of course, there is a lot of functionality in Raspberry Pis, or like additional gear for 2-3 euros that you can buy for a Raspberry Pi and use that to set up cards. So yeah, there is various ways in which these cards can be written, but the phone, or at least the phones that have these capabilities, it's just certainly the most convenient way, because everything else means buying additional hardware. Yeah.